Hey there. Predator 2, the sequel, is underrated and kicks ass. It's to me one of the most underrated action sci-fi movie flicks of all time. I love this film to death. I'm not the only one. This is a great sequel to me, in my opinion. Definitely one of the best underrated sequels. It's not for everyone, but I love this movie to death. This is the Blu-ray that is actually the Region B. It's only for the Europe community. And I don't have the US Region A, I have Region B. And I also do have the DVD, but I prefer more the Blu-ray. So I would say Predator 2 is very bashed and hated and it's decent action science fiction horror film. It got 6.3 on IMDb. The budget was for $35 million and it was completely different than they expected to do. People does not like it because there's no Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, or because in the city, or because every character is swearing in the film. To me, I have no problems, or because it's violent, I have no problems. I love this film to death. That's definitely my favorite action film of all time. I love this movie, incredible. And I'm glad that Danny Glover is the lead in this film. He's my favorite action star. What can I say? Little Weapon 1 and 2. I'm not just such a huge fan of Little Weapon 2, but Little Weapon, definitely my favorite action film from Danny Glover. I reviewed the film. And I'm glad that Danny Glover is the lead in this movie, and this deserves more than gets only just hated, that it's too violent, that it's mediocre at best. It's not mediocre at best. To me, it's definitely better action film that I ever seen. I know that Arnold Schwarzenegger refused to return from this film, but there are also many reasons why he did not return. He said that it's a bad idea in the city. Maybe it was a bad idea, but I disagree. I'm glad it's original. It's not copied the first film. Predators heavily borrows from the elements from the first film. This doesn't. This is their stand-up alone. Was directed by Stephen Hopkins, who directed A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, and that movie got hated. This movie got hated. He directed Judgment Day. No, it's a Judgment Night. But definitely, yeah. And Danny Glover kicks so much ass. I mean, he is a badass. This movie has more than the first movie has. More bloody, more gore, more action. I'm a big action fan. I'm a huge action fan. I love, and this is a horror film. Some say it's not. It's an action horror film. And yeah. I love this movie to death. I love the action. I love the movie to death. And he's the action hero I actually wanted, And I love the Predator. Kevin Peter Hall returned as Predator. He was the only one that returned, and no one's gonna play so great like Kevin Peter Hall, because he's a Predator. He's one of the greatest. And Danny Glover is the star of Little Weapon. He was the main cast and the hero in Little Weapon. And Gary Busey from Little Weapon was the FBI agent, and Glover's nemesis, was Gibson's nemesis in Little Weapon. That's two elements. Which I love Danny Glover and I love Gary Busey. The movie has great action. The plot wasn't great, but for the 90s action, I love it. This and the first Predator movie are both in my top 10 favorite action films of all time. Is this movie better to me than original? No, but it's equal than original. I would say I love Terminator 2 Judgment Day, but I love this movie more. I prefer this movie more because it's more action, because it's fast-paced, And I know Terminator 2 Judgment Day will always be best action film of all time, but Predator 2 is fucking underrated. And to me, the best one. Definitely the best one. It's also my childhood movie, and the last good Predator film and worthy sequel of all time. And I watched this film 3 years later when I saw the first one in 1998. I thought it was Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. When I saw Danny Glover, I said, cool. Cool, that's Danny Glover. It was a damn good action movie. I fucking enjoyed this fucking film. I enjoy Predator 2. It's badass, it's action, it's kick-ass, it's slasher. I mean, Predator kills people, now hunts in the city. He hunts those cops, he hunts everyone. And I'm a big fan of Predator 1 and 2. And yeah, definitely. And Arnold Schwarzenegger, like I said, turned down the offer to return for his role from the first movie. He said the story said the city would be a bad idea, and maybe it was. And even though he would return for this movie, he was not able to film because that time they were shooting Terminator 2 Judgment Day, and he was very busy with that film. But I love this movie more than Terminator 2 Judgment Day. That's just me. Bill Paxton is in this movie. And rest in peace, he was in Aliens. I love Aliens to death. And Bill Paxton as Jerry Lambert, the Lone Rangers in this movie. And he also kicks ass. He's in this movie and he gets killed. He gets killed by aliens. And I review Aliens Special Edition. And in Aliens, he's a badass as Hudson. And this movie, he's the Lone Ranger and he gets killed by Predator. But he still gives a great fight, you know. I don't get it. I know the people hate it because it's more violent, or maybe they think it's a joke. To me, it's not a joke. It's underrated. It's just really the movie is underrated, you know. And yeah, that's just is. The new Predator, which plays Ken Peter Hall, the actor from the first movie, rest in peace. He really deserves our respect because he played Predator. He's my favorite Predator. No one else gonna be a Predator than Kevin Peter Hall. No one else than Kevin Peter Hall. No one. And he's a badass, you know. And seriously, what I love about the new Predator is that the first movie he had new technological weapons, much more than the first one. I love Predator 2, no matter what anyone says. I love my childhood movies, and I enjoy the score too. And the movie, it's not bad as people are saying. It's underrated. I love it. Alan Silvestri returned from the music score, which is great. Jim Thomas and John Thomas return with a screenplay. I mean, Roger Ebert put this movie down, or claiming because it was way too violent, or because every character is cursing. You know, because of the language they don't appreciate, you know, or because it's not in a jungle, because it's a city. But still, in the city, there's this territorial gang war going on. In the city of Los Angeles in the future. This is great future. It's 1997, and even though it was the 90s, it's set 10 years after the first movie, you know. And yeah, it's set 10 years after the movie, and two gangs are fighting each other, cops and the Jamaican voodoo gang, who are actually drug dealers. They are fighting each other. And associated alien hunter returns, this time that city in Los Angeles, and he starts to targeting everyone that's actually armed. He's targeting the cops, and he's targeting the gang, and he starts killing them one by one. In a different slasher type. He has different weapons, you know. He has spear. He has different weapons. And police officer played by Danny Glover, veteran LAPD officer Mike Harrigan is the only one that he can stop him. And his nemesis is Peter Keyes, played by Gary Busey, which is a badass. And they on a different side. While Lieutenant Mike Harrigan gets pissed because his best friend, played by Ruben Blades, gets killed, Danny gets killed and wants revenge. Meantime, Peter Keyes is hunting the alien hunter Predator because he wants to have him for his research. He wants to freeze him and capture him. They're both on different sides, but in the end, they both team each other. Even though Gary Busey dies again, just like he died in Point Break, but he dies again. And I love that he goes back and says, "Guess who's back?" And he says, "My God, this is between me and him." and I'm gonna save your ass, Harrigan. This is between me and him. I love that. I love the lines. I love Gary Busey to death in this film. Peter Keys. And I love they don't fight those men each other. They became allies. They became friends. I love that. They were different. They weren't friends. They were different sides, but at least they fight. At least they didn't fight or kill each other. Predator killed Peter Keys. That's great about this film. I love this film to death. Definitely, I love this film. I mean, I love this film to death. And Predators, I think, came out 2010. I think it's a rip of the first film. When people are criticizing movies, I love them because I'm a big fan of the first two Predator movies, 1 and 2. But yeah, there are many elements that I enjoy the film. The score, the action sequences, the action scenes, the gore, the blood, there are still some slasher elements in which Predator is again skinning alive people, just like he did in the first film. But so what? It's not in the jungle, it's a city. And yeah, I'm definitely defending this film. I'm defending this film kick-ass. I don't give a shit who else says, who gives my thumbs up. Yeah, someone is giving my thumbs up because he's too coward to wrote me a comment saying I disagree with you, rather gives me a thumbs up. Turns out probably a mad fanboy, but I don't give a shit, whoever it is. But I'm gonna defend, this film, Predator 2, because I think it's very underrated. I think it's definitely a worthy sequel. I would say Terminator 2 Judgment is the best sequel. Why not Predator 2? Or because it's different, or because they're tons, because they are swearing. Every character is now swearing, and it's too much swearing language because they talk dirty. Everyone calls each other asshole and so on. I disagree. It never bothered me. I love the direction. I love I love when Predator is on the train, or the train station. He's on the train station, but he goes on the train, and you have a great sequence, and that everything is now black. The train is, to me, great. The subway station is excellent. I love that the subway station, which is a badass. The subway station's a badass. It's just. It's a badass on subway station, which Predator goes and kills everyone that's armed, and then Jerry Lambert, Bill Paxton, fights him against him, and says, "What the fuck are you?" And he goes and fires with his gun on the Predator and throws, I think, some smoke grenades or whatever. Then he grabs some stick and say, "Let's dance," and he gets killed again. Really, rest in peace, Bill Paxton. I love his character, Hudson. I love Hudson in Aliens. I love Jerry Lambert, the Lone Ranger in Predator. But Mike Harrigan is a badass. My favorite character. Which I love that. And why I love this movie so much as original, to me, the equal. And Predator 2, which I think deserves more than just get pissed on it because Roger Ebert said, It's just, I love the action, I'm an action junkie, Just like Hard Boiled, I love this movie. I mean, I love Predator 2 more than Hard Boiled, Do I love more than Hard Target or Rambo films? No. But it's definitely there. Predator 1 and 2 are definitely my favorite films of all time. Predator 2 is my favorite film of all time. I'm definitely defending this film better than Predators, in my opinion. Better than the new piece of shit movie, 2018, The Predator. When I rewatched that film, 2018, I wanted to definitely, because it was written by Shane Black, who played Hawkins, or whatever. He played Hawkins. I wanted to see that film. And what happened? It happened that I was so disappointed that I barely went through, Predator 2, my favorite film of all time. I don't give a shit what anyone says, but I love Predator 2. There are actually more. I love that, I love that Mike Harrigan is hunting the predator through the city and gets captured by those feds, and he gets in the trail. Then he finds out when Keith and his men are trying to freeze them, but the predator with ultra sight, he sees them and he goes with a spear and kills everyone. And Mike Harrigan goes just like Arnold Schwarzenegger in as the character Major General Dan Schaefer. You know, he goes in an action, in a rescue mission, and I love that his weapon, and because the predator wants to revenge, he wants, because Mike Harrigan is the prime target, and he wants to kill him, and they both fight each other, which I love that. Or Peter Keith shows up and tries to save Harrigan. Or I love when Harrigan grabs a shotgun and shoots the predator, and takes his mask off and says, "You're one big, ugly motherfucker," and then the predator grabs and says, "Motherfucker," and shows him. Or in the opening scene, you have a firepower, and he comes, this guy, Danny Glover, shows up with bulletproof vest, and goes with a shotgun and says, "Hey, assholes," bang, 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 and shoots everyone. You know, he completely shoots everyone in the open scene. Or says, "Oh, the asshole, trees, drop it," or how he says on the roof, and the guy with the machine gun starts firing, and Mike Harrigan grabs the gun, bam, 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 shoots the guy and kills them, you know, and the guy falls down the roof. You know, they don't make action movies like this anymore, you know. And Kevin Peter Hall returns as Predator, which I really miss the guy. He was in Harry Henderson, you know, he played Bigfoot. He was 7 foot tall, and there are other people who played Predator. Kevin Peter Hall is to me very missed. Very underrated actor, just like was the actor who played Alien, the first movie, Alien. You know, I'm seriously, I have no problems with this film. I love the action. It never bothered me how, when the characters are swearing each other, that never was the problem for me. It never bothered me, you know. It's just, I don't get it, why I so hated the film, but it's you're entitled to your own opinion, you know. And when I love when Gary Busey says, "The lions, the tigers, the bears, oh my, you're the lion, and this is the jungle, a fucking alien." I love that, you know. And the Predator 2, the story is set in urban jungle, and it's different than the first one. I don't want to see the jungle again, you know. And Predator 2 doesn't copy Predator 1, it has its own story, you know. Predators did copy it heavily bar from the first movie. I don't want to see the same fucking movie over and over again. Now, I love this movie. Predator 1 and 2 will always be my favorite films. You know, if any is mediocre, it's definitely Predators. Predator's mediocre, and the Predator is a piece of shit son of a bitch, you know. And Aliens with Predator Requiem, you know, stole a line from Arnold Schwarzenegger in the first Predator. "Oh, get to the chopper!" You know, the same crap. They, I forgot to mention, but they also stole the line in which says, "What the fuck are you?" You know, Robert Joyce says, "What the fuck are you?" They stole from Gary Busey, not Gary Busey, from Bill Paxton's line. They stole his line. And I did read that Bill Paxton is not proud to be in this film. I disagree. You know, this is a great film, just like Aliens. He was killed by aliens and he was killed by Predator. And I love Predator 2. You know, I love the first and the second one. And I don't know which is my favorite. They're both my favorite films. But I'm definitely gonna say I'm gonna put this one above the first one. I love the first one to death. I said it's one of the best action films of all time, but it's definitely my personal favorite. You know, with the first one, they're both great. You know, I love both the films. I love to death, but I love Predator 2 to death. You know, and I don't say I love the first one, this one more than the first one. I love equal. They're great movies in my opinion. You know, if you disagree, that's okay. It's cool by me. Just don't trash my video. But I love Predator 1 too, definitely. The action is great, the gore, you know. It's a sequel to the first movie. It starts in the future, 1997. This film was released in 1990, you know. And it's definitely a 30th anniversary, or if it wasn't. But yeah, it's completely different. In my opinion, they're both movies great. You know, the first Predator, the second Predator, they're both great. But why not this film being an action? Because I love Predator 1, but I love this one too. I definitely love this one. I mean, I love both more. Both Predator 1, 2 more, but I love this one now definitely say as my favorite too, So I'm definitely not gonna trash this film because I love Predator 2. And yeah, I think both movies are great in my opinion. And Stephen Hopkins, this is my favorite film from Stephen Hopkins, And by the way, there are special effects. I read that they found a real body somewhere, and I love. I forgot to mention that's really important. I love when Danny Glover fights on the roof with Predator, and you hear a score from Alan Silvestri. That's my favorite scene. Or when Danny Glover grabs the spear and runs and punches Predator him off the roof. That's my favorite scene. And then Predator grabs for Mike Harrigan's arm, and Mike Harrigan says, "Okay, pussy face, it's your turn." My favorite scene, my favorite line from Danny Glover. Danny Glover to me is better than Arnold Schwarzenegger because Arnold Schwarzenegger did kill Predator in the end, but Predator activated some biological or whatever explosive weapon which caused the explosion. So technically Schwarzenegger did not kill the Predator, but Danny Glover did kill him. He stabbed him, he killed him, so I enjoyed that, But yeah, I would say Predator 2, I think there's many of us fans who say it's the best one, Not everyone likes this film. A lot of people hate Predator 2. But do I think it's better than Predators? Yeah, I do think it's better. It's miles better than the Predators. Do I think it's better than the new Predator? Of course I think it's miles better. This movie fucking kicks ass the Predator, eats and spits out the Predator. Fuck 2008 in the Predator. Shane Black fucked up. I will always watch this film. I will watch, I waited 3 weeks till I get this film on Blu-ray. 3 weeks. So much I love this film, Do I think it's better than Total Recall? Yes, I do. To me, this is my favorite underrated action film. The favorite, I'm not the only one, but I love Predator 2. I know I'm probably gonna get the hate for this when I'm gonna upload this video because a lot of people say I don't agree. I think this movie is outrageous. This movie is mediocre. This movie is terrible. It's awful. I've seen haters for this film. I saw one guy who wrote a movie in which he said that it's the stupidest movie of the week. I think you are full of shit. But Predators, he said that it's better. What the fuck? Now, I guess you did not grow up with this film. I did grow up. I grew up with the first one. And I know the first one's a badass, but this is also badass. It's also kick-ass. And I love Ken Peter Hall. I love him. This is my favorite character. You can see it, but this is my favorite character, Predator. This is my favorite film. And I love that. For the 90s, it's the badass action film. I think Broken Arrow is underrated action film, and Predator 2 definitely underrated. But that's just me, Do I think that Predator 2 rocks? I do think that Predator 2 rocks, And Danny Glover and Gary Busey are the main cast, and they completely rock, and I love them. They became friends. They became allies, not friends, allies. They fight each other, but Gary Busey character gets killed off, and I always love Gary Busey in this movie. I wasn't happy when they killed off his character in the last Point Break. They killed him off. But in this movie, he was killed a different way. And I love Danny Glover as Mike Harrigan. There's never gonna be movies like Predator 2, and I was gonna enjoy. It's 30th anniversary, if it wasn't already, but it's 30th anniversary, and definitely I'm gonna defend this film. I don't think it's bad. You know, people hate it because it's violent, because it's set in the city, it's not set in the jungle. I have no problems with that city, especially when Mike Harrigan climbs down the wall and he's scared to the height. But I love that he talks to himself just like Schwarzenegger did. But I think that Danny Glover did a much great job in the sequel. I'm glad that Schwarzenegger was in this film. That's just me, you know. And I love Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think Predator is definitely my favorite movie of all time. But Predator 2 is my favorite film of all time with the first one. They're equal to me. It's just like a Nightmare on Elm Street, you know. I love the first and I love the third one. They're equal to me, and I am torn with those two films. But sometimes I definitely think that still, I think this the third one's to me my favorite, or the first one. You know, it's hard. Maybe the third one is my favorite, but the same thing is the first one right there. So Predator 1 is right there with this film. Predator 2, to me, definitely underrated, you know. And I don't think that Adrien Brody did much better job than Danny Glover. I think Danny Glover was better. I think Danny Glover's underrated. And I know a lot of people hate this film. I have a coworker who hates this film, who said that Predator 1 with Arnold Schwarzenegger is the best. This one, not. I have an ex-coworker that agreed the same. He said, no, this movie is outrageous bad. It fucking sucks. You know. But I love this film. I'm not gonna listen to them. I'm gonna listen to myself. I'm not gonna listen to that idiot who made that stupid movie of the week. I think your taste of movies is shit, you know. There's so many haters which they disagree with me about Hard Target, but I don't care. You know, that's my opinion. You can't change my opinion, and I love Predator 2. You know, some people think that the 2018 is better. That's your opinion. Mine isn't. To me, this is miles way better film. You know, and I love that Peter Keyes is an FBI agent played by Gary Busey. I love that Danny Glover is a veteran LAPD cop. He's Lieutenant Mike Harrigan. And I love that. I love that he doesn't wear a mustache. I prefer this film over Lethal Weapon. That's just me. I think this is better than Lethal Weapon. Because the finale, there are more predators in the end. And Arnold Schwarzenegger did not kill Predator in the first movie. He only wounded him. You know, Predator activated self-destruction advice, and he blows himself up. So Arnold did not kill him. You know, and a lot of people does not get this movie. So if you hate this movie, then don't watch. You know, there are other movies you can watch. You know, they won't watch Predator 2. Go watch Smurfs instead. You know, and Predator 1 and 2 are excellent films. You know. Part 3 to me was outrageous and out of question. It has since became a cult film among the fans, you know. And also the electrifying action sequence unleashes a deadly missile Predator in another jungle, you know, the urban jungle of Los Angeles. Danny Glover stars as a lieutenant who mistakenly concludes that energy bodies found by the police are work of fighting gangs, you know. Instead, he finds himself confronting a savage alien who has come from a distant world to hunt humans for a sport, you know. And Gary Busey and Ruben Blades who star this action-packed high-tech thriller. And not only that, that's 1 hour 48 minutes long, but I also love that guy who plays Pope, you know, and Maria Conchita Alonso's this movie. And I love when Danny Glover punches him. Or Predator did not kill Maria Conchita Alonso when he found out that she was pregnant in the subway station. And that's my favorite scene, when Predator jumps on the train and he causes a blackout on the train and he goes kills everyone. That's my favorite scene, and that's a slasher film. They can't see him, he can see them through the heat of the body. That's my favorite scene. Or because it's a different story, or because it's not set in the jungle, just like Predators. So Predators is much better film. I really disagree with that, you know. I love this movie to death. Directed by Steve Hopkins and written by Jim and John Thomas. I will never say this movie is terrible, you know. To me, definitely, I definitely disagree with haters who hate Predator 2, you know. I'm definitely gonna say that I think Predator 2 is my favorite because I love this movie to death. Even though I love the first one, I love both of them. They're great films to me. Predators is a mediocre at best. It's not my favorite. I don't hate Predators, but I hate the 2018 film. But I'm definitely gonna say this and the sequel to me. The first one and this one, to me, are better films, you know. They're definitely the best one. They're in my top 10 favorite films. I enjoy this film as fuck. You know, the guy who's the Jamaican voodoo gang King Willie, he gets skinned alive. You know, his skeleton, you can see his skeleton. His head is cut to pieces, which I really love that. I love the slasher things in the film. You know, in the same year, 1990, 30 years from now, Steven Seagal made the same movie about voodoo gangs. It was called Marked for Death. I think I hear so many stories that maybe Steven Seagal wanted to be in this film. Maybe he liked the first Predator. He wanted to be the star in the film. But I think he landed Marked for Death from Dwight H. Little, so he did it his own action movie instead. But Predator 2 came out the same year as Marked for Death, and I love Marked for Death, but I love this movie more. The time when I watched it, you know, my coworker did not agree with me, but he was fine with it, you know. And Predator 2, I really think that's definitely underrated. I don't think that Predators is better than this. I don't think 2018 Predator is much better. I think 2008 Predator is a fucking joke. I hated the Predator 2018. I was so disappointed. Just like with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2014, I was disappointed, you know. This movie, I'm not disappointed. I love this movie to death. Predator 2 is great, in my opinion, you know. And the rest of the cast, which I didn't mention it, but I love the rest of the cast, which I'm gonna get to it. Robert Davi has a few scenes, and that guy from Little Weapon, Steve Caan, was also in the film. You know, Colin Lockhart was great as King Willie, and I think I do know. No, it wasn't. It was someone else actor that I remember. But Steve Caan, he was in Demolition Man, the opening scene. He was in Little Weapon in all 4 films, and he was also in this film. Elpidia Carrillo did return as Anna, but she was only briefly in one scene, just like was in Hellraiser 3 that I reviewed that film. In Hellraiser, Ashley Lawrence returned, but only one scene. But Predator 2, I seriously love this film. Adam Baldwin is in this movie, and he still was likable. Even though I prefer Gary Busey, his superior officer in as FBI agent Peter Keys. And I would say Danny Glover and Gary Busey definitely did a great job for me. You know, there's a tons of action, blood. I love everything about this film. The action, Mike Harrigan's a badass. He shoots the 5 guys in the opening, or when the Predator shows up in that building, when that girl is having a sex with a guy, and they start to make a voodoo sacrifice or something, and the Predator shows up and saves the girl and kills everyone, you know, and he skinned them alive because they started skinning them alive, gives them a message that they don't fuck with Predator, which I love that. And Predator is completely different, you know. I love the scene in which he kills Danny Archuleta, played by Ruben Blades, and see all the blood, the gory. This movie, the same year also, Dolph Lundgren made I Come in Peace, like a Dark Angel, because I found out that it's a similar story to Dark Angel, or I Come in Peace. But to me, Predator 2 kicks ass. Predator 2 spits and eats out Dark Angel, or I Come in Peace. So I'm also one of the people that love this movie to death, and definitely say it's mediocre, it's terrible, it's a joke. No, Predator 2 to me is a badass, and I love this movie to death. And there was some guy I have problems with, but also defends this film. And I defend this film because I'm not gonna disagree. If you're gonna say this movie fucking sucks, it's outrageous, it's mediocre, okay, that's your opinion. You're entitled to your own opinion. But I'm not going to agree with you because this movie to me is a classic. I mean, I love this movie more than Terminator 2. Predator 2 to me is, I'm not saying it's better, But I love this movie more because it is in top 10 action films. Terminator 2, I put so many times in my top 10 favorite action films, but I would rather watch Predator 2. I think there is another guy, the Italian Stalin 51, said that he loves this movie more than Terminator 2, and he's right. I mean, I agree with him. I love this movie more too than Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I love Terminator 2 Judgment Day. That's always going to be the best action film of all time. But Predator 2, definitely my favorite of all time. I love this movie, underrated, kicks ass. I mean, it's a badass, kick ass. I love the special effects. I love the design. I think Stan Winston did Return for the Signs, exactly the same Predator. I also do love about this film that that Predator has more. He has more weapons, more technological weapons. Or Danny Glover fights with Predator on the end. He uses his own technological weapon and he fights with him. With his arsenal, he fights with him. He stabs him, and so shit happens, and he kills him, which I love that. So yeah, I love this movie to death. And then the remote Predators on the end, which that film did not, the first one did not show that, because they killed him off. But they did not show that the first one. And the Predator, Danny Glover gets a gun, I think was 117, I think. Which they wanted to do Predator 3 in the past, I think in 18th country or something they wanted to do, but sadly this movie made only $57 million and got outrageous negative reviews, so it was box office bomb, so it didn't. So they did not make for 20 years until the sequel, the Predators. I would rather watch this film than Predators. Even though I'm gonna rewatch Predators, but I would watch Predator 2 many times, and I also defend this film. It deserves defending, so I'm sorry, but I love Predator 2. That's just my opinion. I think it's underrated. I just think so. I would even say it's better than Cobra or Cliffhanger, or Uncommon Valor, or Missing in Action trilogy. Definitely, I would say it's better. I think it's better to me than all those films. I would definitely say it's better than I Come in Peace. It's better than I Come in Peace. It's better than Golden Child. It's better than that film with Rutger Hauer, Split Second. This is to me better than Split Second. To each own, but to me it's better. Always was. So yeah, I'm gonna stop now here. So this is my movie review on Predator 2. Which I defend the film. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening. Take care. Now, bye bye.